is cooking now.
Alrighty, sorry about the technical difficulties. We had a rookie mistake. I didn't leave my power cord. Did I say card or cord?
You said card.
Power cord. I didn't leave the power cord on to my MacBook, and we
You can just say Sims unplugged it.
yeah, we'll just blame it on. It's a little master over there. But we're back and we're live. But before we got cut out, we was discussing talking about World by Night. I'm not gonna lie, this is probably one of the best projects I've like just visually seen. Like the fact that Marvel has their name like attached to this, like I was like, wow.
Good.
Like I probably, like even if this wasn't a Marvel movie, I would probably see it.
Oh, 100%.
Just
right?
because like I look like it just looks really good.
That's a good point.
Like that's what I'm saying. The fact that this is Marvel, I'm like, wow, I'm marveling at this. Like this is beautiful. Like just what we've seen so far.
That's actually a really good point, because this is a story, I think, obviously, I mean, you're a pretty big Marvel fan, and you didn't know, like, what's Werewolf by Night was about.
No.
I have no clue what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, regardless of whether the Marvel name is on this, I'm still like, oh, what the hell is this about? I want to see this, whether it's Marvel or not. The fact that it is just makes it that much better. And I'm like, good on you, Marvel. You're finally going darker. You're finally doing, like, what DC has not been afraid to do. I mean, I doubt they're gonna come out like The Boys, you know, but they're pushing at least the adult boundary. You know what I mean? As far as like, okay, this is not exactly for kids.
Yeah.
I don't think so. It's gonna be interesting to see. I mean, there's like seance stuff. It's like a really creepy haunted house. I don't know that every kid can really watch this, even though they love Marvel. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to see Marvel's doing more like shows for the adults, because they know their audience is getting older.
They really know, yeah.
You know, or not older, that sounds horrible, but they just know their audience knows the OG characters, and they need more storytelling, and they need something more than, ooh, cool new flashy superhero, you know what I mean? But then they're doing like Young Avengers and stuff like that. So I feel like they're doing a good job now of doing both, you know, giving both audiences what they want.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know I wanted this. I'm like, ooh, thank you, Marvel.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, we got introduced to a property and we had no idea about it at all. And like, once we seen what we saw, our anticipation level just went from negative like 500 to like plus 5 million.
Right.
Just like that. Just because like, this makes you honestly want to learn more about the character. And just like what's going on and stuff like that. That's why I'm saying Marvel has done a really great job. Like, yeah, we keep talking about like the movies that they've released. They haven't been quite like up to par with like just the stuff that we like want to see. But the trailers, I'm not gonna lie, their trailers have been killing it like this whole year. Like every trailer for everything Marvel this year, you've like been like,
Right.
So they've really been doing good in the trailers. So I'm just hoping that they really just really cross that finish line and like nail it home. So
Agreed.
we'll see Werewolf by Night when it comes out. Like I said in the other stream before this one cut out, definitely I just bumped this up to one of my most anticipated projects this year, other than Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Black Adam, gonna go see it, but I mean hopefully it's good. You know, DC just got a lot of stuff going on, so we don't know what the hell is going on in the DC universe. Is Superman coming back? Is he not? Like, this is my thing. Like, if with DC, if they're gonna get rid of and like fire all the people and get rid of all these projects, what are we doing now?
That's a good question.
Like, you got Ezra, his whole thing going on. You got the Aquaman, you know, stuff all going on. Like, is it just time to start over and just start a whole new universe, or like, do you just keep that going? I don't know. But those are questions DC is going to have to answer in the future, while Marvel is continuing to kill it and keep killing it. But now we're going to get into some She-Hulk, man. She-Hulk has been, I'm not going to lie, I've been enjoying She-Hulk so far. I've been seeing a lot of mixed reviews and just a lot of people.
Really? Mixed reviews?
I've been seeing, I mean, I haven't watched them just because like, I feel like I have my own opinion of the show. I honestly love it. I think it's one of Marvel's best like but I feel like you can pick at it, like as far as the CGI and stuff like that.
Oh, that makes
But
sense.
I really love what I'm seeing so far from this show. Like, I'm loving the jokes. I'm loving the fourth wall breaking. Like, I'm just loving everything about it. Like, even though we've had a cameo every episode. Do you think it's been ruining the show?
The
Like,
cameo?
Yeah. Do you think it's gonna come to a point to when we see her by herself? Are we gonna like, feel a certain type of way? Because all 4 episodes have had cameos, and we haven't even seen Daredevil yet. So it's like, do you feel like this is gonna be a show where, like, do you think she's gonna be able to carry it on her own? I guess that's what I'm asking.
You know what? I think they want you to think that because they've been mentioning that multiple times. Remember whose show this is. Remember whose show this is. They've been very
in your face with it.
Yeah, they've been very careful about telling you that, and I don't feel like she's even being overshadowed.
No,
I feel like that's who she is as a person. I feel like there's always been people, like, leading up to the show, obviously. I feel like there's always been people that overshadowed her because they were taller than her. They were men. They were, more famous. They were prettier. They were this. They were that. She's always just been that girl. And now she's finally, like, starting to come into her own with She-Hulk, as well. But it's also, like, boosting her confidence in other ways. And she's starting to come into her own.
Yeah.
Like, you see her when she breaks the fourth wall, and she's like,
yeah,
I know you guys are so happy to see Wong, but remember whose show this is. You know what I mean? So she's sassy. She's got that personality. So, I mean, yes, I think it kind of sucks that there's so many cameos in that way, but I'm not mad at the cameos, and it's not like they're big cameos. I think Daredevil is the biggest cameo to me.
Yeah.
Abomination, I mean, OG fans, I guess, can be like, oh, that's, it's Abomination. I don't really care that much. It's cool. He's a great character and a great actor, but that's not taking away from this show for me.
Yeah.
Wong, everybody just loves Wong. He's like that guy. You can't not like Wong. But he's not going to take the show away from me. I think maybe him and, I don't even know her name, but his friend Wongers, that girl.
Oh, yeah.
Those two might have stolen this episode.
Oh, my God. Just the stuff that they're doing with the show. That's why I can't hate this show.
Because,
I really cannot hate the show. Like, I'm loving everything that they've given me in the show. Like, I don't even have any problem with this show.
Right?
Usually at this point, I have, like, a problem. But, like, the only problem I have with the show, and I probably said this about every show, but I wish this was an hour.
Right? Me too.
Like, if we gonna do the week to weeks, give me an hour. And that's why I gotta say Stranger Things was probably the best thing to come out this year.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you watch Stranger Things, you felt full.
We sat and binged the hell out of that show.
When you watch Stranger Things, you was like, fuck.
Even the finale, I was like, oh my God, thank you for 2 hours. You gave me a movie to finish, like, what already felt like an amazing movie to me. Thank you. Duffer Brothers.
So, I mean...
Or Duffer Brothers, however you pronounce it.
I definitely think Marvel's gonna do that eventually, like, with the shows. They're gonna continue to, like, make... I think they're still testing this, honestly. I think they're trying to see, like, do we like shorter form shows or, like, hour shows? So, I think,
Smart.
I think they're still trying to test this out.
Is that why? Oh, go ahead.
It was interesting at the beginning of this episode about the sorcerer that was banned or from Carmitage or something like that.
I don't know. What it's fake David Blaine? Fake David Copperfield?
Yeah. That was interesting, having him as a antagonist, I guess, as far as, like, cases and whatnot. Like, I'm really loving that they're pulling from, like, the MCU lore and, like, bringing, wizards to trial. Like, stuff like that is, like, cool.
Right.
I'm really loving stuff like that. What were you gonna say before I rudely cut you off? So sorry.
That's a good question because now I don't remember it. That's a good question. No, you're good.
Sorry about that. But
no, still don't remember it. Go ahead.
No,
keep going.
But I really love this. Like, I love the sorcery. I love all this stuff. And I even love the elements on, like, wizards gone bad.
He's not a wizard though.
Is he not?
I don't think so. And we need to rewatch it because I gotta refresh up on exactly what he is. First of all, can I just say I love how Wong was, like, just chilling, drinking his whatever he was drinking. Looked like he was smoking a pipe, whatever it was.
Living his best life.
Living his best life. Watching his Sopranos show. That's adorable. But I want to know, like, was he a wizard or was he, you know, just kind of like at the party and found Wong's ring or the ring? You know what I mean? But I think the bigger implication here, and I love it's creative the way that they're doing it. The bigger implication is that when magic just like that gets into the wrong hands, I mean, that's when chaos starts to happen. And he has been alluding to it this entire time. He's like, you know, telling Jen Walters, like, this needs to be stopped. This is going to open portals to dimensions we know nothing about, and it's going to cause a lot of chaos. And he's trying to stop it for that reason. And obviously, that's how the episode goes. You know, towards the end, we'll get to that point when it gets there. But it's just got much bigger implications for the MCU that this is happening. But it's so funny that that's happening. But also like Wongers is hanging out with his girl. You know, like they're doing a great job of saying. You know, this crazy stuff's gonna happen, but you're gonna laugh before it does throughout this show. So, and she did it at the beginning too. She broke the fourth wall and she's like, I'm sure you're so happy. Wong's back. Yeah. It's like Twitter armor for a week. You know, like, I love that the show is just picking at itself. Because you know, I guarantee Marvel's just been waiting to say all these things because they know the fans are over here talking shit.
That's why I gotta give this show an A+, because like, they're so aware.
Yes.
And she's so aware.
Yes.
And like, I'm loving like just everything. Like, even like how you just said the Wong scene, right? Now, this is the thing I kind of wanted to allude to earlier in the beginning. Like, you just said that you love the whole Wong scene and him just... By the time She-Hulk is like said and done, do you think we're gonna like remember the cameos more, or like an overall performance of like something she did, or like her, like based on like what we saw? Because like, I ain't gonna lie, a lot of the like highlights for me has been like the cameos.
So I'm gonna give you a really lawyerly response and say it depends.
Right, a She-Hulk attorney at law.
Right, it depends, because as a woman, I'm watching this and I'm like, man, I relate to that. Man, I feel that.
Okay.
Even in the scene in the beginning where the dad brings over the shovel because he's so concerned that she just got like almost jumped or whatever. They thought they were gonna jump her. And she's like, yeah, they almost did, and then I realized I was the big green Hulk, and then I kicked their ass. Yeah. And he's like, well, I brought the shovel. And she's like, for what? Digging holes? And it's like, well, what happens if they come back? I'll just kick their ass again. Yeah. Like, most women, I mean, if that's not me thinking that, like, nobody's gonna mess with me, like, I'm good, I'm fine. If that's not most women, you know, it's so relatable. And I think John Campia's wife, even like the first episode, when she got real, she was talking about like, I live that way every day. You know, you know, how do you turn into the Hulk? I get angry, right? I live with that every day. That's how I know how to control it. It's some degree she said something like that. And it was like, damn, you know, however she phrased it, I don't remember it right now, however she phrased it, most women really resonate with that. You know what I mean? They learn to control these different things about them. They learn to be scrutinized. I mean, this poor girl is being scrutinized as She-Hulk. Luckily, it's positive, you know? Yeah. But I mean, they are, you know, smash or not, you know? Yeah. Like, at the end of the day, she is being scrutinized in that way. So, it's relatable. I'm gonna remember Wong's in it. I don't care enough about Daredevil just yet to care that he's going to be in it, but I love her character. You know, I love what they're doing with her character.
Oh, that was a great. I mean, it wasn't the lawyer response that I was.
It depends is a lawyer response. There's no.
You answered the question for me because you said as a woman, you entirely like relate to this show or just her character.
Yeah,
and you get
and what she goes through. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that itself is like a big thing on its own. So I mean, like I said, you answered my question, and I mean, because like for me, I'm loving the show as a whole. Like, I'm loving how it's been put together. I'm loving the fourth wall breaking. I'm loving her story. Like, I'm here for her, and I like her as a character. But I just know for some fans and, like, you know, the casual audience, like, and she even said it. She was like, I know you were here for Wong. You know, yes, Wong's back. You know, there are people that are watching just for Wong, just for Bruce, just for Daredevil, you know? So, like, I love how they tied this all into the show and just made her, like, aware of like all the stuff, and like she made it a point to say like she's not gonna get overshadowed in her own show, and I love that so far.
I agree.
I really love that.
Yeah, I really agree. And she's like not afraid to say things. She's like, I was a prosecutor long enough to know they're not gonna catch these guys. They just said police stuff. Like, if that's not all of us feeling that way, and as a lawyer, you're like, yeah, I know. So the show, I think, is just doing a really good job of being relatable in that way for a lot of people.
Yeah, like.
And if all of our to-do lists aren't that long, shoot.
Right.
I mean, just man.
Yeah, and I'm loving with this show. I'm loving seeing the balance between her, She-Hulk, and Jennifer Walters. I want to see when she snaps, though. I'm not gonna lie.
That's where I think you're gonna remember her. I think this whole time they're perfectly playing up like, oh yeah, I know you're here for Wong, or oh yeah, here's this person, or oh, there's Megan the Stallion, you didn't think that was happening. I really think in the end it's just gonna be like, you didn't think this is my show?
Yeah.
You know?
So you think she's gonna beast out at the end?
Either beast out, or she's gonna do something that maybe saves the city or the world for now in this show, but it's gonna lead to bigger implications. Like she's gonna stop David Blaze or whatever that magician's name is in the beginning. She's gonna stop him and whatever he's trying to do, or whatever happens, or whatever the villain of the show is. But it's gonna, like, this whole Wong being upset about people using magic like as kind of fun and for gimmicks and all of that and getting into the wrong hands. I think that's gonna be your overarching issue with all of this, and she's gonna play a big part in stopping it for here, but it's gonna carry on. It's gonna have obviously bigger implications. That's what I think is gonna happen. And however she stops it, whatever she does, I'm hoping is gonna be very, very impactful. And that's why, you know, they're downplaying her. She's making sure you know, like, you really want Wong, you know? Yeah. So
I love how, like, when we first seen Wong, like, he wasn't with the court system and like how everything works at all. But as soon as this man's seen somebody using magic, you know, away from the sanctum, he's like, no, we gotta take him.
Right.
He's like, yeah, no, get him out of here.
Right. So I don't mean to pause it, but Kinetic asked if we've seen Black Phone and what our thoughts are.
Yo, Black Phone was crazy.
Right.
Black Phone, we sitting in the theater, man. You was jumping in the theater and trying to
I was.
But Black Phone was a really great movie. Definitely a really great movie. Ethan Hawke has been on a roll. For sure. Like, he's been on a roll. He's been killing it. Whether it's Marvel, Black Phone, he's been killing it. And Black Phone, he was that guy that you hated to love.
Right.
Because you know him as Ethan Hawke, but he was a creep too in the movie.
Yes.
But stellar performance. I get that movie like A+. Because it's rare. I don't know what it is today in this day and age. It's rare to see like really good movies like that. So I liked it. What did you think about Black Phone?
I thought it was so it was so visceral in the sense of like, I'm like, man, my kids are never going with any stranger. They're never out of my sight. Like it brings that fear and that reality home. You know what I mean? And it was just so creepy to actually be in like in the vicinity of a kid who's been kidnapped. That's literally what this movie is. If you've never been kidnapped, you get to experience that in this movie. Yeah. And not just that, it's by a really creepy dude who is just mind torturing you the whole time with some mask in his kitchen. Yeah. I mean, they did a great job with it. It's so like, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time because I'm just like, oh my God, is this kid gonna survive? Are we gonna see a kid get killed on camera? Like, what is gonna happen? But it was just so different, so just unique. And the ending, I was like, the ending was actually pretty damn good too, you know? So they killed it with that movie. And Ethan Hawke, I mean, between Arthur Harrow for Moon Knight and this now, I'm like, damn.
Yeah. We're not going to mention how Miss M almost Black Phoned the kid after we...
that was for a good cause.
Got done watching
I was trying to make sure he got home and didn't get real Black Phoned, okay?
After watching Spider-Man, the more fun edition. But no, in all serious, no, it is important to make sure kids get home safe and sound. You know, because I mean that movie showed us, and like that's just a depiction on like what's going on in the world, whether it's on the news or not. Like
100%. That kid's kinetic age in that movie, you know. So.
But great movie overall, and we loved it.
Super unique. I love the idea.
Yeah. But back to She-Hulk. I'm loving what I'm seeing so far. Really loving what I'm seeing so far. I keep hearing people talk crap about the CGI and stuff like that, but it's like for me, like I just feel like people are trying to really like nitpick and like pick on like She-Hulk for like anything that they can.
They really are. And I mean, if she was a dude, if this was Banner,
Yeah.
I don't think people would be like, oh my god,
Nobody.
the CGI, oh my god.
Yeah.
I don't notice it, but I'm not one to sit there and be picky like that. But
Yeah. And I love how they even talk crap about it in the show. Like when they had people showing up like, oh, that's not my Hulk. My Hulk's a man.
right?
Or like, you know,
Because
oh,
you
it's
know
gonna be
that
She-Hulk too. Oh.
Yeah, you know that shit would be going on in real life. This show is just absolutely relatable. Every girl has dealt with that creeper. Hey, ladies, I saw you were busy. Can I buy you a drink? And it's like, bro, you could see we're clearly here working. We're not here to entertain you.
He's like, yeah, but can I buy you a drink?
Yeah. When you change your mind, I'll be at the bar. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
we won't. Ugh.
What do you think about her going as She-Hulk to get dates versus like her regular self? What are your thoughts about that?
I mean, that's a loaded question. I don't like it. I'm not one to be somebody else in order for other people to like me type of thing. So, I don't know. I'm not a fan of it so far. I get it. She's,
Yeah.
but it's not my thing.
You know what's crazy? I feel like this show has kind of showed me a female lawyer's life, in a nutshell.
I literally told you during the episode, I was like, man, that would be me. I'd be working at the bar like that, 100%.
Yeah, and that's how you say you really like relate to this show, just because of like you say you feel like every girl, well not every girl, but just a lot of girls like go through this, and unfortunately they can't be She-Hulk, but this is something that like every girl goes through, like how you just said, random drunk guys or whatever hitting on you at the bar. You just have so much work to where you can't even have a dating life. Like this show doesn't directly relate to me, but I can see how it relates to like a lot of like women, like busy women, like successful women, and just like women that really have a career. So like I'm learning a lot watching this show, and like honestly I love it. It's probably one of my favorite shows that's come out this year. Like it's really gonna be hard for me to rank these shows by the ending based on what we've seen this year, because I really love each and every property that's came out this year.
Me too. I mean, I think they're just doing a great job with introducing real life scenarios into this, and you get to experience them, and you're like, it's just relatable. It's so relatable. And I mean, later on in the episode, we see it play out where her being She-Hulk doesn't necessarily work for her, because at some point you can't be She-Hulk all the time unless that's what you want to do. But she has to turn back, and then she saw the disappointment, and I mean, that hurt. Like I felt for her in that scenario, because I feel like this world has just come to judge you for your looks, and that's it. Beyond that, it's like, no, I'm out. Nah, I'm good. Got what he wanted and then left. And then it's like, damn, like, is that really what we've come to? Is it really that shallow,
Yeah. It's just really sad. Like, I love that this show, like, the show is all fun and games and the show is all jokes and entertainment, but I really love how relatable Marvel gets to us on like a surface level. Cause even like She-Hulk, not even She-Hulk, but Jen Walters on dates, like I feel like this explains like a lot of dates that go on. And like for me as a guy, I don't see this, cause I'm a guy and I'm cool and smooth. But to see She-Hulk like going on these dates with these guys, it's so, well not even She-Hulk, but her as Jennifer Walters. But just to see these like date interactions, it's so odd and funny for me to see, because I've never seen this before. Like I never realized, so we're on this dating scene, right? And like she's on a blind date with this guy, and they're talking, but he's on his phone the whole time. Like he's like, yeah, so tell me your interests and what are you, like, is that really what happens today? Like in the dating world? Are people like not even there when they're supposed to be there? But I guarantee you that this is something that's happening like present day. Like as far as like, Tinder, Bumble, Match, or whatever you want to call them. And the fact that the guy didn't even want to pay, I was like, oh my gosh. This man was really a dirtbag, sleazeball.
But that is sadly more common than you realize.
Is it?
Yeah, I've told you stories about that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Left her to pay the bill.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Like that's what I said. Like I don't directly relate to the show, but I'm learning a lot of different stuff that goes on, because I never realized that there were people out there like that just do stuff like this. But it's interesting. But now we're back at the scene where they're in the court with Wong. And it was funny to see Wong actually back in court when this fool literally like disappeared and was like, yeah, I'm not with the court system, but I gotta go back to being Sorcerer Supreme. But then he brings I can't even remember her name, but I want to call her drunk Wong fan. That's what I'm gonna call her now. He's bringing her in the courtroom, and she's the witness, and she's a witness with a martini.
Right.
She's the witness with a martini and a drink in her hand, and like I love the whole like court like just scene, just the whole aspect of it. Like, and this is like your field. Like, you were one of your parents was a lawyer,
right? Back
in the day. So I know you love just this whole court, this whole court scene, and just them going back and forward, and like Wong getting the cease and desist letter and all that stuff. I thought it was like really, really well. Like I was learning about court, like watching this stuff.
Yeah, it got. I mean, for somebody that's been into it, like I've been around a lot of law stuff, my whole life. So it's just shows like this have always been interesting to me. Like watching Law and Order, like that's entertaining to me. But this is like in a fun way. I never did watch Ally McBeal, so I don't know. Like I've said, this show is supposed to be like Ally McBeal, but I mean, if it's anything like this is like our generation version of it. I really like it, So maybe I will watch Ally McBeal one day, but. I love the way that they used like the actual, like they got it right. Like the stuff that they're talking about in court makes sense. They're not just making things up, but it shows that she knows her shit too. That's what I love. It's not just,
Yeah. And like for a while, I'm not gonna lie, like after watching this show, I kind of forgot about like Tatiana. But I'm really glad that like honestly like that these court cases have been giving us like filler. And like really helping us as far as like really even understanding. So like now we're at the scene where after Jin goes on the date with the one guy that was trash, she finally decides to go into She-Hulk form. And who would have thought She-Hulk had to get on a Tinder or Match or whatever they want to call it? Like who would have thought? And like I'm not gonna lie, I gotta keep it real with you. When I seen this scene where she was on like Tinder or whatever the case it may be, it's funny, she has Captain America's behind as her screensaver. That's so funny.
Right.
But it was interesting to me when she set up her Tinder profile as She-Hulk. And she got so many matches versus being like Jen Walters. But I mean, when I seen this in the trailer, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, really? Oh my god, they're gonna go this route? But honestly, after watching this, like I felt bad for her. I felt really bad because it showed that a lot of people only want to like, be with her because she was She-Hulk.
Yeah.
They didn't care about anything other than that. Like, people were interviewing her, asking the questions like, so are you indestructible? Like, well, physics, says you're not. And like, he like one of the guys looked like he wanted to take her in the lab and like get some blood samples. Right. Versus like even like just trying to date her and like just get to know her.
I bet you he's gonna come back as something later.
You think so?
I mean, who would ask some weird shit like that? I don't know, maybe.
He called her a specimen.
Right.
On a date, he called her a specimen. And then she says, is there anything worse than dating in your 30s? Oh my god, that was a classic line.
Tell me if that's not the most relatable line ever.
Oh my god, that was a classic line. So, when we finally get to the one guy, and I think this is the one guy that act like he was interested in She-Hulk. You know what? What I really love with these like dating scenes with Marvel, I feel like these are actual real dates that people have been on. Like I said, I'm a guy, so this isn't like relatable to me as a woman. But I feel like this is the dating scene like today, in 2022 and like beyond. Well, who knows what's gonna happen beyond? But it's just so interesting to me. Like just we're seeing all these stories, and I felt really bad for her. Like I'm gonna skip to the part where she was pretty much She-Hulk, she took home the guy. You know, they did what they did. We don't know what they did. It was off camera. But by the end of it, man, this dude was like, yeah, I'm out. And she even made breakfast and all that and everything. And I just felt really bad for her. I really felt bad for my girl.
Right?
Really felt bad for my girl. But I want to talk about one more interesting scene that stuck out to me before we wrap it up. The scene where, so we have a scene where I guess the magician releases some like bat demons from hell, and Wong just in the middle of the episode, he's like,
yes.
yo, I'm sorry to interrupt your Tinder date and all the craziness going on, but we got some crazy stuff happening. So we see She-Hulk in action, like just killing the hell out of these like Demogorgons or whatever the hell they is.
Yeah.
Like she's throwing them back to the upside down. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I love this scene. Just Wong and She-Hulk going in, tag teaming. I'm like, yo, this is some cool action. Like, I'm loving this. I'm not gonna lie, this is probably the best episode. Like, I keep saying it every week, but this is probably one of the best episodes that I've seen, like, thus far. They keep stepping it up. Like, the action was, like, really good. The random Demogorgon stuff was pretty good. And then by the end, look at this reach out. By the end of it, she finally gets back, and you know she's about to get back into action on her date, you know, and she sees that it's a dual life, you know, being She-Hulk.
Right.
You know? So right now we're at the scene where she just got done, like she got demon juice on her forehead too. We're at the scene where She-Hulk she takes him back to her room. We don't know what happened. We don't know if they cuddled or whatever. We don't know what happened there. But she even woke up and made breakfast. Woke up and made breakfast. And then she finds out, I guess her nemesis, Tatiana, is suing her for the name She-Hulk.
Right?
Wow. Suing her for her own name. So I'm guessing that we're gonna see Jen Walters / like She-Hulk in court now. Because now she's the one that's getting sued instead of, you know, her, I guess, like, you know, defending other lawyers and stuff like, or not lawyers, but just defending other people in the courtroom or whatever. But before we wrap up, I wanted to get your thoughts. Like, what did you think about this scene? Like, the whole, like, the guy waking up from them, you know, reading bedtime stories to each other at night. What did you think about that whole thing?
Waking up and reading bedtime stories to each other?
So we just get past the scene where you know, She-Hulk took him to the room to read him a bedtime story. And he
oh.
he
I was like, they didn't do that.
He woke up and was like, who the hell are you? You know? How do you feel about this whole scene that just went down?
I hated that whole scene. It was cringy because it's like, I feel like
he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go.
I feel like she is every girl who has ever like had self-esteem issues or just, you know, is not ugly, is not, you know, may not be a 10 like a Megan Thee Stallion, but she's not ugly, she's not dumb, she's not, like, she's got so many things going for her, and yet this fool thinks that because society has hyped him up, that she's like, oh man, all right, like, damn. And he's just like, I'm gonna treat you like shit and leave, I got what I wanted, so I'm out. That's how I took that whole scene, and it was really shitty. But I'm glad that she was like, oh, whatever. You know what I mean? I'm glad she played it off like that, but I really think, like...
it's gonna affect her.
It does. You're human. You know what I mean? And that, like I said, a lot of girls have gone through that because for whatever reason, men, you know, are put on a pedestal in society, and it's like if you have muscles or if you are semi, like, I guess, close to a model looking or whatever.
And he was a doctor.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that too. So you have money. But it's like, those are the qualities that, like, the right girl is not going to give a shit about. You need to be a decent person. And I guess, I don't think most men realize that. And I don't know. He's like the epitome of typical men, unfortunately, in society today.
Yeah, I mean, that was a shitbag move by that guy, man. I mean, if you're a guy like that...
yeah.
You guys got some learning to do. Treat women right, all right? Treat women right. Like, come on, guys. So this ending scene where we see, they say they got court documents filed by Tatiana Worldwide LLC. That's funny. And she's suing her for the name, the trademark rights of She-Hulk. So I'm really interested in seeing how this pans out. That is, wow. I'm not gonna lie, that was a smart power play. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know who told her that to trademark it. Yeah. And she's a lawyer, so she should have been on top of that.
Well, the irony too is that she just handed a cease and desist to, I can't think of the name, the David Copperfield magician, David Blaze. David Blaze. So they are playing off David Blaine. Glad I just thought about that. But she just handed that to him, and he's like, "You can't copyright art." And she's like, "Yeah, you can." And they made like an NFT joke. Yeah. But she just did the same thing, or the same thing just happened to her with his trademark name. Yeah. That was genius of her to do that. Yeah. You know, so I mean, technically she can't fight it.
That's funny. He says, "Not if you trademark it first." He hit her with the lawyer.
She's like, "Huh, yeah."
That's so funny.
Jerk.
Wow. Kind of a bum way to end this episode. See, I love the whole meta stuff. Love the whole meta stuff. It's just amazing. Just amazing. So like that was the end of the first episode, and the official runtime for that was like 28 minutes.
What? It?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
28 minutes before credits, and then of course we got the post credits scene. And we're gonna break it down real quick before we wrap it up. What did you think about this post credits scene? Like, what were your thoughts on
Wongers,
like them just chilling, eating, like watching some Netflix, or like?
I have to tell you, in real life, that girl, oh my God, would drive me nuts. I could not. No offense to girls like this. It's hard for me to be friends with girls like that. Yeah. But man, she's hilarious on their show.
She embodies that girl.
A slow gin fizz, a vodka straight. Like, what's your favorite drink? And
yeah.
And I love that they're watching This Is Us.
Yeah, yeah.
I just love it.
They just called to you this whole episode. This whole episode was like they heard you and studied your data online.
What do lawyers watch?
Oh my God.
This Is Us.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I got Mandy Moore. Oh, Jack. Like, damn. Wongers. And she's like, hey, like doing the party, like, oh my God, she is that girl.
Yeah. And like, I love what they're doing with Wong. You know, that's why I said I love what they're doing with Wong. I'm hoping that Wong isn't done for the. Do you think Wong is done for the series?
I don't think so, because a lot of this series, I mean, if that's an overarching thing with this musician, he's got to come back for the next episode to finish out the trial or figure something out. I mean, Wong's not going to just let this guy fly. He can't. You know?
Yeah, he can't let the magician fly. But like I said, I think it was a W episode. I'm going to get an episode, and this is a rare thing that I give out to episodes, but I feel like the show has really been keeping its pace thus far, and I'm loving what I'm seeing so far. And this fourth episode just really like nailed it. So I'm gonna give it, you know, like I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5. You know, because I feel like it nailed it in all areas. You know what? I gotta give it a 4.9 out of 5 because I wish it was longer. I always wish the episodes were longer, but I'm just really loving how this show is like really like, you know, starting to like pick up its pace. It's really lawyer based. You're really relating to it a lot. And I'm loving what I'm seeing so far, and I can't complain. And like, it's coming out to be like one of my favorite MCU projects thus far. What about you? Like, what would you give this episode in specific, as far as numbers wise, a review? What do you think about the series overall so far?
I mean, my only complaint is that it wasn't long enough. I can always do with more, but I mean, we still have another 5 episodes, so I sit there and tell myself that. I give it a 5. I mean, I loved it. I was entertained the whole episode. I laughed. I felt for her. I felt relatable. I mean, it was good storytelling. You know, Wongers. Like, how can you go wrong with that? I love the episode. I can't wait for this week's.
Yeah, Marvel's been knocking it out the bag with these shows, and like we're extremely like as fans, we're extremely grateful and just proud that we have a studio that's just giving us like hits after hits after hits after hits after hits. You know, it's funny. It's hard to think of a time where there wasn't any Marvel, projects out, or like just the MCU, right? It's become so ingrained in like pop culture that it's like it's like a staple.
They're coming up on 2 years that they've been doing shows, because we realized the other day WandaVision debuted on my birthday, January 15th. 2 years, no, it will be 2 years ago now. That's crazy.
Yeah. So, Marvel, keep doing what y'all doing. We loving, everything that y'all sending us out so far. Give us longer episodes, please. Mm-hmm. And if y'all don't do it, we'll still watch what y'all put out regardless. But W show so far, I'm loving what I'm seeing. I'm just hoping they stick to the landing.
Me too.
Because that's been kind of a current thing with Marvel. Like, I haven't seen a really solid ending since. I can't give it to Miss Marvel, because it just felt rushed during the end. Moon Knight, last episode, felt really rushed.
And the storytelling were superb.
Yeah,
that movie or that show.
I'm going off the last episodes. Like the last episodes, trying to wrap everything up, like trying to explain it. Trying to see what had the best wrap up. I'm gonna say Falcon and Winter Soldier probably had the best wrap up, because you didn't wonder anything, and that's just me. That's what I think. But hopefully Marvel can keep the magic going. We trust and believe they will. Let us know you guys' thoughts and comments about She-Hulk and just all the wonderful things Marvel is giving us. And that's gonna be a wrap, man. We'll catch y'all on the next Raw Real Review of She-Hulk. I think we got like 5 episodes left, so we're a little bit halfway. We're not even halfway through it, but we'll keep rocking and keep doing what we do the best. Any closing remarks you got for the people before we head out, Miss Sam?
No, I'm excited for this week's episode, and I can't wait to see what they're gonna do with it this time. I mean, they've done a great job. I'm excited, and they've got my attention. I don't know how I doubted them.
Nice.
Nice. How about you?
Like I said, I'm ready to see what they got coming up next, what they got cooking up. And like I said, we're gonna be here to review, react, and share our honest, raw, real review and raw, real thoughts right here live on the stream. You know what I mean? But stay positive. Always try to be the best person you can be. You can be what or whoever you want to be in life, man. Just look at me. We'll catch y'all for another raw, real review on the Shef Pod, discussing all the week's current, latest, and greatest events. Catch y'all next week. Turn those notifications on. Like and subscribe. We out. Peace.